of Ahkam SOS, live from the Holy Land of Bayn al-Haramain, live from the Holy Land of Abi Abdullah al-Hussein and his beloved brother Abil Fadl al-Abbas alayhim afdal salatu wassalam. As you all know, dear viewers, this show is dedicated to be discussing Islamic laws, do's and don'ts, and to be answering all of your questions, inshallah, regardless of any marja' you follow. Now you can send in those questions via WhatsApp, or you can just drop them in the comment section below our live on our YouTube channel. Inshallah, I'll be at your service and answering them. Or you can also give us a call via WhatsApp, via the number presented to you at the bottom of the screen. And inshallah, I'll be at your service and answering them. Or you can give us a call, or you can scan the barcode, present to you alongside with the number. And inshallah, I'll be at your service and answering all of your questions, regardless of any marja' you follow. Now, before we get into that, I'm your host, Musa Ali. Now I'd like to introduce our honorable guest, Sheikh Ali Maash. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Alhamdulillah, fine, great.
How did you find this beautiful night?
Great.
Here in Karbala?
With blessings and barakah and rahmah, alhamdulillah.
I hope you didn't forget our dear viewers.
Inshallah,
in
definitely.
your prayers.
Inshallah, definitely.
Allah bless you, Sheikh. Thank you very much. Sheikh, now we have a question. It is from YouTube, and it says, do you have to say dua when making wudu?
أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطاهرين ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين السلام عليك أبا عبد الله وعلى أخيك أبي الفضل العباس ورحمة الله وبركاته. We have ad'iyah in which if one wants to perform the wudu,
yes,
from the beginning of the wudu, from the intention onwards, for example, when you start to pour the water in your hands and preparing for the wudu, that you say, for example, Allahumma ja'al al-ma tahuran, for example. Other ad'iyah, Allahumma bayd wajhi, when you wash your face.
Yes.
Allahumma a'tani kitabi biyamini, when you wash your right hand. And so forth to the end of the wudu, you have, for every section, every act of wudu, segments, you have a dua, a line of dua or half a line of dua, yes, which is of course great for the one to be able to memorize it or just have a poster written on it, the dua, and then you can recite for every act and movement in the wudu, you would recite this dua. Great.
Yes. May Allah bless you, Sheikh, and thank you very much. Sheikh, now we have another question. It says, if one takes a nap for a few seconds, would his wudu render void?
You see, the sign of somebody in which would lose his wudu or avoid his wudu as a result.
Yes.
Because one of the mubtalat al-wudu is to sleep. That doesn't mean that if I just close my eyes, just to relax or just have some kind of a nap, but I'm still hearing sounds. The sign of sleeping is when you lose your hearing. In other words, you can't hear anything, and it happens sometimes.
Yeah.
That few seconds in which you start not to hear anything, that means you've went to deep sleep, and there is the one loses his wudu in terms of being invalid, and of course you have to redo your wudu and for the salah. Otherwise, you cannot pray without wudu, because the wudu now is batil.
Yes.
Because you went to sleep, and the sign of it, as I've said, when you lose your hearing, you can't hear anything in the sleep. Otherwise, I can just have a short nap, and I can hear you what you say, for example,
yeah,
or background sound. That's not really the sign of the wudu being batil.
May Allah bless you, Sheikh. Thank you very much. And we have another question, and it's from YouTube, and it says, is it permissible to marry mut'a marriage when someone is already in permanent marriage?
Na'udhu billah. That's would be, of course, haram. As I've said before, these are two types of marriages with conditions similar to each other. This is actually a muhsan woman, as they say, a married woman. One cannot come near this woman at all with any kind of, reasonings or as I've said, as you said, or the brother said, in terms of the shortened marriage. She must divorce first and take iddah. And after the iddah, she has the right and the choice to marry him or not to marry him. Again, it's her choice. So it's a proper marriage with conditions of passing the duration of the iddah if she's divorced from that individual, for example. And then, of course, to also observe the mahar, for example, the duration, and so forth. It's all to do with, it's a proper marriage, as I've said before. And it's in the Holy Quran. فَآتُنَّهُ أُجُورَهُنْ. So it's on the Quran. Why should we, in some cases, be scared of such a marriage and compare it to, na'udhu billah, prostitution, as some madhahib do.
Correct,
against the Shia? When it's in the Quran and in the Hadith and Sunnah, and the Prophet allowed it. Even the non-Shia confess that it wasn't the time of the Prophet ﷺ, but they would say that the Prophet made it forbidden, which is not true, of course.
Yes. So for a man, if he's in a permanent marriage, he's still allowed to do mut'ah. I believe that that's the aim of this question.
No, because I thought the question is about to marry that woman who is married, who is married to that man.
Okay.
So you cannot marry the married woman, in other words.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, they would ask some people who are ignorant that, can I get married to a woman who is already married?
Yeah.
And she doesn't mind to marry short-term marriage. That's because of ignorance with regards to the ahkam of marriage. So that's been asked, and things has happened during the durations. So, with regards to the man marrying a short-term marriage while he has a wife, that's allowed. At least for the long term, he's allowed mathna wa thulath wa ruba', as the Quran says. He can marry up to 4.
Yes.
With conditions of adala. Allah ta'adilu fa wahida. If you can't be just, then observe one. So the adala is a condition. That he doesn't oppress his other wives.
Correct, yes.
But yes, for the short term, of course, one can also marry a short term, as a man, to marry short term marriage while having the long term marriage and the wife beside him. That's also allowed.
Okay. May Allah bless you, Sheikh, and thank you very much. And we have another question, and it is via YouTube, and it says, if a Muslim dies in the afterlife, does he go to hell to serve his sentence relative to the level of misdeeds, and then go to Jannah after his sentence is done, if they showed no ill to Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam?
If one's aqeedah and belief
Yes.
in the principles of religion, usul al-din, is correct and valid and complete, so he believes or she believes in usul al-din from tawheed to the ma'ad of the qiyamah, a complete aqeedah, any wrongdoings or mischief or, let's say, sins committed, of course there are options and phases for purifying this individual. In dunya, for example, they might lose their wealth, their health, fear, for example, all kinds of bala in which that would come on this individual, on this mu'min, to purify him before leaving this world. Okay. If not, and this is all according to narrations, I'm not talking something by myself.
Yes,
it's
correct. Yeah.
according to narrations. If not, on the ihtidar, while he's leaving this world. So when they take his soul, they would take it fiercely, with force or with, na'udhu billah, with some kind of mini punishment, let's say.
Yeah.
If not, in the grave, we have the crush of the grave, asrat al-qabr, for example, the crushes that individual to purify that mu'min and mu'minah. If not, in alam al-barzakh.
Correct, yeah.
If not, in the qiyamah. If not, of course, na'udhu billah, in hellfire, and then after being cleansed and purified, they will take him to the paradise. But for sure, those who go to paradise will never leave paradise.
Okay.
They will remain there forever, eternally. خالدين فيها أبدا.
Correct. May Allah bless you, Sheikh, and thank you very much. And we have another question, and it is via YouTube, and it says, how to stop a habit which is haram, and it's across the internet and social media all the time. I ask this due to the majority of youngsters are watching it alone in their rooms.
Number one, education.
Yes.
In other words, parents should educate their children, teach them, mentor them, watch them, for not allowing them to watch such programs, and give them something alternative for watching such materials, for example, especially if it's, la samahallah, it's a bad materials, indecent materials. So education from the beginning. when the child is in the age of 5, 6, try to educate them that this is wrong, this is haram, this is bad for you. Eventually, if they grow up by the time of the teen age, again, haram, halal, try to teach them the ahkam of haram and halal, encourage them towards the good deeds and amal salih, and inshallah would eventually become beneficial individuals in society of the mu'minat and serve the religion of Allah Azza wa Jal as a result.
Yeah. May Allah bless you, Sheikh, and thank you very much. And we have another question, and it says, is it true that in the grave your mouth doesn't physically move, but instead your good deeds in life speak instead to answer the questions in the grave?
And overall, what remains in the grave, let's say alive, is the ruh, is the soul.
Yes.
And the body is dead. So it's the ruh in which is being accounted for any deeds, good or bad. The ruh is there, in which has to basically offer the answers by the the angels when they come to him. The ruh is alive. So, and the adab would be on the ruh. The jasad is dead, and anyhow, yes, on the day of resurrection, this jasad and the body would be resurrected.
Yes.
And will be, of course, with their body coming towards the judgment of Allah Azza wa Jal on that crucial day, indeed.
Inshallah. May Allah bless you, Sheikh. Thank you very much. And we have another question, and it says, it's from YouTube, and it says, how much is the futur per person for this year? Thank you.
Yes, I've checked. For those who live in the UK, it's around £6.
Okay.
Depends where you live, Middle East, Africa, Asia, I don't know, America. You have to ask your local mosque, Alim and scholar, to see how much they have designated the amount. But for the UK, £6 for those who live in the UK, because of the prices and change for the past 12 months. Things have been changed.
Yes.
So one can refer back to their local mosque to ask for their local currency or local price of the food stuff and so forth.
Inshallah. Thank you very much, Sheikhna. We have another question, and it is via YouTube, and it says, I was told that the money used to go to Hajj must be money that had been khumsed, like fifth. Is this true, or can you use unkhumsed money, or even a mix of both to reach the amount to go to Hajj?
No, you have to make sure that the money has been khumsed, definitely, for the Hajj, to be a purified money before leaving for Baytullah Azza wa Jal, because you are there to say labbaik Allahumma labbaik. And if the reply came to you that no labbaik wala sa'daik, and that's a problem. That's a problem. You've just did your wajib, but without any rewards, for example, or even there's a burden of not paying khumus and you came without khumus. So make sure that you pay that 1/5, and you're on the safe side, that your Hajj is complete, inshallah, with great rewards, inshallah.
Inshallah. May Allah bless you, and thank you very much, Sheikhna. Dear viewers, before we get back into the questions, I would like to remind you all that you can send in your questions via WhatsApp, or you can just drop them in the comment section below our live on our YouTube channel at Imam Hussein TV 3, or you can give us a call via the number presented to you at the bottom of the screen, exclusively via WhatsApp, or you can scan the barcode presented to you alongside with the number, and inshallah we'll be at your service and answering all of your questions regardless of any marja you follow. Now, Sheikhna, we have another question, and it is via YouTube, and it says, Assalamu alaikum, why do we touch our heads when mentioning the last holy Imam?
Because we have narration of this regard, that one of the Imams alayhi salam, when he heard the name of the Imam, that specific name, he stood up and he put his hands over his head. So there's a narration with this regard. Yes.
May Allah bless you, Sheikhna. Thank you very much. Now, Sheikhna, we have another question, and it says, is it permissible for non-mahram man and woman to look at each other's faces when in a conversation?
Well, initially it is permissible if the hijab is observed, but with the condition that this looking is not a look with pleasure, with charm, with the arousal of the lust. Just a normal look, as mentioned in the mas'ala. Because any kind of look outside the boundary of the of the Sharia, and of course that would be haram, you know, with shahwa,
Yes.
with all these types of lookings in which would arouse the lust would be not permissible.
Correct, yeah.
We have a narration by Imam Sadqa alayhi salam. He says, فَزَكَاةُ الْعَيْنِ النَّظْرُ بِالْعِبْرَةِ. The zakat of the ayn, you know, zakat is like a tax, let's say. You know, we pay tax for the car, for the property we live, for the land we own, for business we own. You pay tax. So what is the tax for having an eye, in both eyes in your body?
Yeah.
Is to basically look with abra, by learning lesson. That's one day this house was owned by somebody else. Now I own it. Now I'm going to leave, and somebody else will take over this house.
Correct. Yeah.
So with abra, with abra and learning lesson. وَالْغَضُّ عَنِ الشَّهَوَاتِ وَمَا يُضَاهِهَا. And also the zakat of this ayn, you know, the due of this ayn is to, of this eyes, is to avoid looking the haram with lust and temptation. You have to keep it, lower your gaze, as the Quran mentions, يغض أبصارهم ويحفظوا فروجهم, is to lower your gaze and do not look at the opposite gender with lust and shahwa and riba. So that's important for both gender to observe that most of our, you know, problems in life and falling into the haram is because of the first look. And we have a hadith which says that النظر سهم من سهام إبليس مسموم, that looking at the opposite gender with haram look, with the lust looking, it's a poisonous arrow by shaitan, in which he would throw this arrow, and of course it would poison our eyes.
Correct, yes.
And then to clear it is going to be difficult,
Yes.
unless with istighfar and tawbah, of course.
May Allah bless you, Shaykhna. Thank you very much. And we have another question. It says, if one learns after Salah's prescribed time that one Salah has been void, does he still need to make it up later as qada?
Yes, indeed, it is mandatory and wajib for the one to perform the qada of the Salah in which it was batil and void for any reason. You must make sure that you have, excuse me, prayed the Salah correctly. Otherwise, you have to make it up later.
Yes. May Allah bless you. Thank you very much, Shaykhna. And we have another question. It says, my father died as a non-Muslim. Is there anything I can do to make his grave time easier for him? So it's two different questions. Let's answer the first one. We'll get back to the second, inshallah.
Well, did he believe in Quran and the Holy Prophet? And that's the issue.
Yeah.
When he denies and rejects the Holy Quran, for example, as a holy book, how can I send him a Fatiha?
Yeah.
I don't know if it works. You know, somebody who didn't believe in the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So, you know, one should basically read dua for those who are still alive to guide them towards the right path.
Yes.
Now we have the opportunity to guide others and to recite the dua for those who are now around me, who are not Muslims, who I know them, or they could be even my friends and relatives, to read dua for them,
Yes.
to be guided towards the right path.
Inshallah. May Allah bless you, Shaykh. Thank you very much. And we have another question. And it says, when one is pregnant and can't fast, should they pay money towards their missed fasts?
Yes, they have to pay fidya for
Yes.
each day they have missed as a result. So pregnancy, they couldn't fast. There's a fidya as well to be paid. 750 grams of wheat, barley, and so forth, of food stuff.
For each day?
For each day, 750 grams.
Okay. May Allah bless you. Thank you very much, Shaykhna. We have another question, and it is via YouTube, and it says, is non-alcohol champagne with less than 5% champagne?
You see, if there is enough alcohol in that, because the alcohol, even a drop, it would make that cup or that bottle najis. One drop. Imagine that if you have one drop of blood inside a cup of water or a bottle of water, it would make that bottle of water, which is ma'ul qalil, a few water, makes that bottle najis as a result.
Yes.
We have a hukum with regards to other materials. Let's say sometimes you have they extract from the stomach of an insect some kind of red color, flavor, for example. If that actually became dissolved in that, let's say, cakes or biscuits and so forth, of course one can consume it, dissolved. But how can we be sure that this amount of alcohol is not dissolved in that bottle of non-alcoholic champagne, for example? I would avoid drinking such drinks as a result.
Correct.
احتياط شبهة.
Yeah.
This is شبهة.
Yeah.
وفي شبهات عتاب. They would ask us, why did you drink this?
Correct, yeah.
So shubha, one should avoid the shubha anyhow.
Inshallah, may Allah bless you. Thank you very much, Sheikhna. We have another question. It's from WhatsApp, and it says, how to pay sadaqah?
How to pay sadaqah? You have the intention of paying sadaqah, and you pay sadaqah to the one who is in need, to the poor individuals. So
Yes.
this is how you pay sadaqah, basically. You put money aside in a box, let's say, sadaqah box, and then you give it back to the charity organization, or you give it to the poor individual. If you know them by yourself, you give it to them. That's it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. May Allah bless you. Thank you very much, Sheikhna. And we have another question, and it's from YouTube, and it says, Salaam alaikum. Is it okay to eat chocolate that contains alcohol?
Well, alcohol is not permissible. So
yes.
even if you have alcohol within the chocolate, it's haram to consume. It's forbidden. It's najis, by the way. That chocolate becomes najis if you mix it in the process of cooking. That few drops of alcohol would make this chocolate najis impure.
Mm-hmm.
So you cannot consume and eat it. No.
May Allah bless you. Thank you very much, Sheikhna. And we have another question, and it says, it is from YouTube, and it says, what are the benefits of praying Salat al-Layl constantly, and are major sins forgiven if Salat al-Layl is prayed? And also, what to do? Narrations say, what can we do for major sins to be forgiven?
Allah says in the Holy Quran, وَقُلْ اسْتَغْفِرُوا رَبَّكُمْ إِنَّهُ كَانَ تَوَّابًا. So istighfar and repentance is the best way for the one to seek Allah's forgiveness,
yes.
be it for the minor sins or the major sins. It's all open for the istighfar and tawbah.
Yes.
Never be despondent, qunut, ya'as min rahmatillah.
Yes.
At all. Always hope in Allah's mercy and forgiveness. And this is the month of mercy and forgiveness. A good opportunity for the one to make use of this month to ask for forgiveness. And of course, one of the ways to gain forgiveness is Salatul Layl. Namaz al-Shab, as mentioned by the brother or the sister.
Correct, yes.
To pray Salatul Layl. Great reward is mentioned with regards to Salatul Layl. One can perform every night.
Yes.
As I said before, if you can't wake up in the Sahar time, even after the holy month of Ramadan, you can pray after Salatul Isha, straight away pray this Salah, and go to sleep for your work and study next day. But of course, the best time is the last quarter of the night to perform Salatul Layl.
Correct. May Allah bless you. Thank you very much, Sheikhna. Dear viewers, brothers and sisters, we'll take a very short break to leave you with the beautiful atmosphere of Karbala. Also to give you a chance to be under the dome of Abi Abdullah al-Hussein alayhi salam, to say your du'as, say your ziyarah. May Allah answer them. So send in your questions via WhatsApp, or you can just drop in the comment section below or live on our YouTube channel at Imam Hussein TV 3, or you can give us a call via the number presented to you at the bottom of the screen via WhatsApp, or you can scan the barcode presented to you alongside with the number, and inshallah we'll be at your service in answering all of your questions regardless of any marja you follow. So do stay tuned. We'll be back very shortly.
have a question regarding keeping pictures of
Is it
scholars
permissible
at
to
home.
plant trees by or
Was
over
Islam
the graves?
established based on peace and
Is it permissible
non-violence?
to collect donations for charity projects from
Is it permitted to consume canned food imported from non-Muslim
Is there an
countries?
issue for men looking at non-Muslim women?
To have your questions answered live, WhatsApp us on +44 7415 092155.
Dear viewers, brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome once again to this exclusive season of AHKAM SOS live from the Holy Land of Karbala. Now you can send in your questions via WhatsApp, or you can just drop them in the comment section below our live on our YouTube channel at Imam Hussein TV 3, or you can give us a call via the number presented to you at the bottom of the screen exclusively via WhatsApp, or you can scan the barcode presented to you alongside with the number, and inshallah our WhatsApp page will pop up so you can send in your questions or give us a call, and we'll be at your service in answering them regardless of any marja' you follow. Now Shaykh, we have another question, and it says, if one deliberately utters the dhikr before bowing to the level required for ruku', or if one deliberately raises his head from the state of ruku' before finishing the obligatory dhikr, what would be his ruling?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. One of the conditions in Salah that you have to make sure that you're motionless and stable. In every act of the prayer, in every section and phase, you must be not moving. When you say the dhikr, for example, when you say Alhamd and Surah,
Yes.
Ruku', Sujood, if you want to basically say the dhikr before you reach the Ruku' or before reaching the Sujood, just to finish your Salah as quickly as possible, of course, that would lead to the Salah to be void and batil.
Correct, yes.
You must be in the position of sujood and then say Subhana Rabbil A'la wa bihamdih. In the position of ruku' and say Subhana Rabbil A'la wa bihamdih. Not on your way towards the ruku' or sujood. So one should observe all these ahkam of salah to make sure that the salah is valid and correct, and no need to pray again or make it up later.
Correct. May Allah bless you. Thank you very much, Shaykhna. We have another question, and it is via YouTube, and it says, Assalamu alaikum, Shaykhna. What age are people still considered non-mahram? For example, if one is 20 years old and their cousin is 40, are they still non-mahram?
Non-mahram remains from the, adolescence age.
Yes.
They become non-mahram. That's it.
Correct. Yes.
Even if they have blood relations, the cousin, of course, non-mahram, they can't look at each other's. Let's say if she is without hijab, she has to cover herself. So it begins from the age of adolescence. And even ulama say that if the boy is in a discerning age, يعني مميز, he can define the right or the wrong. Let's say he's 9, 10, and he's not even baligh yet. He hasn't reached the age of puberty. Still, she has to cover herself from this 9 or 10 years of age, who is aware of the things.
Correct.
He can define and compare the good from the bad, So even this age, she has to cover as a precaution. They have to cover herself from this boy.
Yes. May Allah bless you, and thank you very much, Shaykhna. We have another question, and it is via WhatsApp, and it says, what is the ruling for guests visiting our home on Eid night in terms of paying zakat al-fitra? If my friend visits to have some dessert but doesn't have to stay the night sleeping, will I pay zakat al-fitr for him?
You see, the major rule with this regard, the ulama mentioned, is to do with to become dependent on you. So as you said, the brother or the sister, that they're going to come and stay. And what happens, that you have to spend on them their food, drink on the next day.
Yes.
In this case, of course, you have to pay the zakat al-fitra. But they come for iftar or for the tea break after iftar. That's not going to be basically makes the payment wajib on you. Just a guest in a night guest. No, if they become dependent on you, basically, you have to pay for their cost,
Yes.
for staying there for 1 or 2 days. Then, of course, you have to pay the zakat on their behalf.
Correct. May Allah bless Shaykh. Thank you very much. Now, Shaykh, we have another question, and it is via YouTube, and it says, is it permissible in family gatherings or family dinners to sit mixed with men and women?
You see, what is the condition here is that there's no, again, looking with lust.
Yes.
cracking jokes with the opposite side who is not mahram, cracking jokes, laughing, charm, banter, all these rulings, if we can observe it, one of the ulama used to say that, yeah, if you gather in that dinner table,
Yes.
you put your head down, you eat, and then you leave without any communication, which includes banter, and that's fine. But if I know from the beginning that somebody will crack a joke and then they were going to laugh, they're going to get involved in that conversation, which has some kind of, charm, riba, fitna, of course that would make that gathering haram as a result.
Correct.
So it depends. If you can protect yourself from the acts of haram, there's no issue with it.
Mm-hmm. May Allah bless you and thank you very much, Sheikh. And we have another question. Excuse me. And it says, it's from YouTube, and it says, I work in a restaurant as a wait serve, as a waiter serve alcohol. Because of my situation, I have no other option for another job. Is it a sin for me to keep working there as I have to provide for my family?
Allah Azza wa Jalla is the one who gives the rizq.
Yes.
In Allah huwa razzaq. So have tawakkul on Allah Azza wa Jal, change the job because it's a sin. To serve alcohol is a sin.
Yes.
And you don't want to receive, la samahallah, the curse from Allah Azza wa Jal.
Correct, yes.
As mentioned in the hadith, I mentioned a couple of days ago, in that gathering. So make sure that you change the job, and you will see, inshallah, how Allah will, support you and help you, inshallah, with this matter. You'll get a better job, inshallah, with more income, inshallah.
Inshallah. May Allah bless you. Thank you very much, Sheikhna. We have another question in this video YouTube, and it says, what is the ruling on paying khums when one is partly working and partly on benefits?
You see, the issue of khums is ma ghanimtum, as the Quran mentions. Whatever you gained from any source, benefit, government's gift, you won a prize, for example, profits from trade, business trade, from income, salary as employee in a company, whatever is left over at the end of the year that you have set a date and you haven't spent, you haven't used, then you have to pay 1/5 as a result of not using this wealth, which is now known to be a surplus and extra.
Correct.
On your annual income expenditure. Then you have to pay khums, basically. So it doesn't matter from where it comes from, as he said, from the government or from work or a gift, you still have to pay if anything is left at the end of the year, unspent, unused.
Correct. May Allah bless you and thank you very much, Sheikh. And we have another question, and it is via YouTube, and it says, if one is involved in black magic, will this big sin ever be forgiven?
As I've said, Allah Azza wa Jal would forgive, inshallah. Allah is ghaffar. وَقُلْ اسْتَغْفِرُوا رَبَّكُمْ إِنَّهُ كَانَ غَفَّارًا. So one should seek Allah's forgiveness, but they have to repent and regret and not to do this again at all. It's one of the major sins. One should avoid such act, to be, na'udhu billah, magician. And there's a harsh punishment in Islam about the magicians. So one should ask Allah and seek forgiveness, and Allah Azza wa Jalla, inshallah, would forgive his sins.
Inshallah. May Allah bless you and thank you very much, Sheikhna. We have another question, and it is also from YouTube, and it says, what is the ruling on clothing for women who live in Europe?
The hijab is hijab. It doesn't make difference in terms to be in Europe or Middle East.
Yes.
The hijab must cover the woman's body, has to be wide, non-attractive to the opposite gender. That's basically it. Now the issue is about to wear the chador, for example, as for example in Iraq, Iran. Is this wajib, not wajib? What is important is to wear something wide that doesn't show the body curves. Because if she wears something a bit tight, it's going to show the body curves as a result. So one should avoid such clothes in which would show and reveal the body curves, and as a result would reveal the zina. وَلَا يُبْدِينَ زِينَتَهُنَّ, as the Quran says. Do not show the zina, which is, of course, that's the beauty of the body would be shown as a result of tight clothes. So they have to avoid this and wear something wide, a garment in which would not attract the other side.
Yes, may Allah bless you and thank you very much, Sheikhna. We have another question, and it is via WhatsApp, and it says, Assalamu alaikum. Please advise if it's permissible to live in a block of flats where other flats upstairs have dogs, and whilst praying Fajr Salat, I can hear the dogs outside.
It's nothing to do with your salah or
Yeah.
ibadah. It's their property, their house. Even if you can hear their, the barking of the dog and so forth, it's your house.
Yes.
Nothing to do with them. No.
Okay. May Allah bless you and thank you very much, Sheikhna. We have another question. It is via WhatsApp, and it says, is zakat wajib for everyone?
Is what?
Zakat wajib for everyone?
Yes, zakat al-fitr is wajib for everyone except the one who is severely poor,
Yes.
in which we pay zakat to the poor.
Correct.
If it's Sayyid, then we give to the Sayyid who is poor, or Ammi, non-Sayyid, we give the zakat al-fitr to the non-Sayyid
Yes.
who is Ammi, poor. So other than this type of individuals or people who are, they receive the zakat, everyone needs to pay zakat, of course, wajib,
Yes.
even if it's a baby, a few days old. Yeah, for every head in the household.
Correct. May Allah bless you and thank you very much, Sheikhna. We have another question. It is via YouTube, and it says, if someone drinks alcohol unknowingly, can he still be forgiven?
Well, it wasn't intentional, as he said, of course.
Sorry, not unknowingly, unknowingly. So it's not like publicly. It's just by himself. No one knows about it.
As I've said, the door of tawbah is open.
Correct. Yes.
The door of tawbah, the one should repent to Allah Azza wa Jalla straight away
Yes.
and avoid doing such acts in the future. And Allah Azza wa Jalla, inshallah, would forgive their sins.
Yes.
إن الله يغفر الذنوب جميعا. Allah would forgive all the sins. So how big the sins are, one should not be despondent
Yes.
and qanat or ma'yus from rahmatillah Azza wa Jal. Always have hope in Allah's forgiveness and tawbah, inshallah.
May Allah bless you and thank you very much, Sheikhna. We have another question. It says, is it permissible to eat crabs?
No, the crabs are not permissible for the one to consume them. As I've said before, we have a hadith from Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, in which he says, كل من السمك ما كان له فلوس. Fulus means scales. So the Imam says, eat from the fish which has scales on the body of the fish, which is a transparent, let's say, skin, which is removable. I'm sure you've seen it. So that type of fish is allowed. ولا تأكل منه ما ليس له فلس. And do not eat the fish which has no scales on it. So crabs are not part of the fish which has scales. Yes, we have, with regards to the prawns, an exception in which they would allow us to eat prawns, and it seems to be the prawns have some kind of similar scales to the to the fish, not compared to the crabs, which have hard, let's say, hard skin, which is different than the prawns. Anyhow, the exception is only in the prawns. Other than that, it's not it's forbidden for the one to consume any other types without scales.
May Allah bless you and thank you very much, Sheikhna. We have, excuse me, a question. It is via YouTube, and it says, is it permissible to have a rabbit as a pet?
Yes, you can. Yeah.
May Allah bless you and thank you very much, Sheikhna. We have another question, and it says, is it haram or makruh to work on Ashura, Tasu'a, and the days of the martyrdom of the Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam, according to Sayyid Ayatollah Sistani?
The Sayyid mentions that it's befitting for the one to shut down on such a sad day in which the musibah has come on Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is sad, is sorrowful. Ahlul Bayt, all of them, even the Imam Zaman would be sad on that day. So it's not nice for the one to open his shop and serve customers as usual business day, normal day. If the Christians today close their shops on Christmas Day for the birthday, as they say, of Jesus or Isa alayhi salam, and maybe for in some cases, in some countries, they would even close, I think in Easter Day, Easter Sunday or Easter Monday, they would close their shops. So why should we not do the same thing? And we have the priority to do this. We believe in the correctness of Islam and Quran and Tawheedullah Azza wa Jal and the final religion of Allah Azza wa Jal and Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, which are one of the ثقلين,
Yes.
Kitabullah wa Atat Ahl Bayti. So we have to show some kind of respect towards our Imam alayhi salam when it comes to at least their martyrdom days. So inshallah we try to observe these issues, and
Inshallah.
at least in Ashura we stop everything,
Yes.
study and work as well, inshallah.
May Allah bless you, Sheikh, and thank you very much. Now, Sheikh, we have another question. It is via WhatsApp, and it says, is feeding a poor mu'min superior than feeding a poor disbeliever?
Of course, the priority given to the mu'mineen.
Yes.
I mentioned the statement, Al-aqrabun awla bil ma'ruf, that to support and do ma'ruf and goodness, the priority is given to the relatives. So you have initially the relatives. If you have somebody from your family members, cousin,
Yes.
uncle, auntie, who are in need, of course, first give to them, support them, help them, and then go to your other Muslim neighbors, let's say, around you, if you have. If not, of course, it goes to the non-Muslim as a result,
Correct.
as humanity
Yes.
at large.
May Allah bless you, and thank you very much, Sheikhna. We have another question. It is via WhatsApp, and it says, the homeowner that I live in is a Hindu family living upstairs, and I live downstairs. Is my prayer still accepted? Thank you very much.
You see, what is important when it comes to living with non-Muslims, and especially non-Kitabi,
Yes.
if they're Kitabi, according to many fatawa, that's fine. I mean, there's no issue with it in terms of tahara. The issue is purity, impurity.
Yes.
When he prays in that place, does he know that this place is najis? Of course, he has to avoid praying in that place which is najis, for example, or let's say the prayer mat which is najis, for example. There's wetness and so forth. Other than that, no, he can stay there, pray, read dua. There's no issue with it. But as I've said, the najasa issue is an important, especially when it comes to food and drink. If he actually eats from them,
Yes.
and the cooking, then that's also an issue, because they would cook and prepare the food with their wet hands. You know, you wash the lettuce, you know, the cucumber, for example. You try to cut them. So if their hands are wet, there's an ishkal, and you know, transfers the najasa to that vegetables.
Inshallah, may Allah bless you. Thank you very much, Sheikhna. We have the last question for the night, and it says, is having pets at home, like cats and dogs, haram or halal?
In terms of cats, there's no issue with it at all.
Yes.
You just have to avoid praying with the cat's hair on your body.
Yeah.
With the dogs, again, different opinions in terms of why do you want the dog for in the house? Is it a security dog? Is it a farm dog? Is it a hunting dog? So some would put some conditions with the zakat. So it depends really. With the dogs, there's an issue with it.
Yeah.
But the cats and other animals, that should be fine. There's no issue with it.
Inshallah. May Allah bless Sheikh. Thank you very much. Dear viewers, we have come to the end of tonight's episode. But inshallah, we'll be live every single night at 12 a.m. London time. Inshallah, we'll be at your service and answering all of your questions. And you can send in those questions via WhatsApp, or you can just drop them in the comment section below our live on our YouTube channel. Inshallah, we'll be at your service and answering them. Or you can give us a call via the number we present you at the bottom of the screen via WhatsApp, or you can just scan the barcode, present you alongside with the number. Inshallah, our WhatsApp page will pop up. Through you can send your questions, give us a call. Inshallah, we'll be at your service and answering them, regardless of any marja you follow. But in the time being, we'll leave you with the beautiful atmosphere of Karbala, to be under the dome of Abi Abdullah al-Hussein alayhi salam. Hence the name of Imam Hussein TV, your gateway to Karbala. But for the time being, stay tuned for every single episode. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
فاطمة عندها صرع وعندها تخلف عقلي، علاجات هم تاخذ علاجات 4 علاجات تاخذ، غير هاي مال سخونة ومال راس ومال مشني تاخذ هاي علاج. ولا ما شربت علاج مثلا يوم يومين لا ما شربت علاج لا تتخربط علينا. لك لا ما اعطيناها علاج مثلا واخرنا على علاج تطيح عندنا، حتى للعناية ناخذها ندخلها يدخلونها بعد ما يفيد أي علاج بالمستشفى، يعطونها أي علاج ما يفيدها لما ندخلها للعناية.